This month at Chat Sports, it is all about the likes. And so we want you, the Seahawk fan, to show up and show out. If you are a Seahawk fan, then like the video. Show it that you love your Seahawks by liking today's video here on Seahawks Today. Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Today's show is presented by Aura, the all-in-one digital safety company. We'll tell you more about what they do coming up later on in the show. But you can start your free 14-day trial at aura.com/chatsports. On today's show, we will look at a big trade rumor involving Robert Quinn, the latest on Baker Mayfield, and also the ownership situation in Seattle. Let's go ahead and start with Robert Quinn, the defensive end for the Chicago Bears. And there was a trade rumor that came out this week from Heavy.com suggesting that Seattle could be interested in bringing in Quinn. Now, this comes on the heels of a report from Jason Lockenfora of CBS that said Quinn wants out of Chicago. Now, the situation for Robert Quinn right now, he still has 3 seasons remaining on his $70 million deal. This season, he would be owed about $12.8 million, just under $13 million. And I think compensation-wise, it would be similar to what we saw when the Broncos traded off Von Miller to the Los Angeles Rams, somewhere in the camp of about a day 1 to 2 draft pick and probably some additional draft selections as well. You look at the last 4 years of Robert Quinn, he's coming off a terrific 2021 campaign that included 18.5 sacks and 4 forced fumbles. 2020, the numbers weren't nearly as good as what they were in 2021, just 2 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, but you can see he was great in 2019 and had a solid season in 2018 as well. Now, with all that being said, I would be surprised if Robert Quinn ends up in Seattle, and here's a couple reasons why. I think that when you look at Robert Quinn, at this point in his career, he's in his 30s, and that's a lot of money to be asking anyone to pay of that age at this point. Despite how good of a year Quinn had last year, that's a lot of money, and we know that the Seahawks have some salary cap issues at this point. Also, I think with Robert Quinn, the issues that he has with his Chicago Bears team, with the report from Lockenfora that he wants out of Chicago, I think that if you look at Seattle's situation, comparably speaking to the situation that is there with the Chicago Bears, it's really similar. I don't know how much he has to gain personally when it comes to competing at a high level, trying to get a championship ring at this point in his career if he were to go to Seattle compared to what he's already in with the Chicago Bears. I would think that if Quinn wants to move on from the Bears, it would likely be to a contending team. But with that being said, what do you guys think? Should the Seahawks make a move for Robert Quinn? Should they bring him in to Seattle? This is our pinned comment on today's show. You're about to get an ad break. Take advantage of it while the ad's playing. Get your votes in. Type T for trade, type P for pass if you think the Seahawks should make a move for Robert Quinn. That's T for trade, P for pass. Baker Mayfield. We have talked about Baker Mayfield a lot on this channel over the last few months as nothing has happened yet. He still remains with the Cleveland Browns, but a new update from the Cleveland Plain Dealer, the main newspaper there in the Cleveland area, says that the Seahawks, according to their sources, would straight up sign Baker Mayfield if he is released by the Cleveland Browns. And Mayfield, of course, still owed $18 million of fully guaranteed money. We've talked about this for a while on this channel, that the Seahawks have not shown any interest in Mayfield at this point when it comes to paying him his current salary. But if he's released and Cleveland's willing to pay that money, I'm not surprised to hear that the Seahawks would potentially be interested. Now, what we just saw this week involving Deshaun Watson, that's another element in all this, is that the 24th lawsuit against Deshaun Watson in this sexual harassment situation has been filed this week. That's 2 more since he became a member of the Cleveland Browns. So with all that being said, I think the Browns are not moving on from Baker Mayfield, whether it's trade him or release him, whatever it may be, until they have clarity of this Deshaun Watson situation. Whether it's a 6-game suspension or suspended for the entire season, there's no reason for the Browns at this point, since they've already missed out on the top compensation that they could have if they would have traded Baker Mayfield earlier, since that time has come and gone. There's nothing really for the Browns to gain if they go ahead and move on from Mayfield now without knowing what's coming up for Deshaun Watson. Here's the deal. The Browns are a talented team. With a good quarterback, they can be a playoff team. I don't think Jacoby Brissett is that guy. So if you're the Browns, if Baker Mayfield starts for you for this entire season, if Deshaun Watson's out, I think that could be a possibility, essentially. So I'm not surprised to hear that the Seahawks could be interested in if he's released, but I don't think this is going to move very quickly. I think that we have to wait and see what the punishment from the league is on Deshaun Watson, which I would expect a decision there sooner rather than later. Today's show is presented by Aura, the all-in-one digital safety company. They will protect you and your loved ones, whether it's on the internet or whether it's your bank account. They got you covered in every way possible at aura.com/chatsports for a 14-day free trial. And their benefits include financial fraud protection, identity theft protection, online and device security, family plans to protect up to 5 people. And for our viewers here on Seahawks Today, they're offering a great deal, 14-day free trial at aura.com/chatsports. You know, producer Sam, I tell him all the time he's got to protect his credit card information, but he just leaves his credit card all the time out in the open, and people seem to hack his accounts, and so he's always trying to chase that down. And if he had Aura, which I think he's going to go ahead and sign up for now, then he would be okay. Now, I'll tell him that he's going to do a better job leaving his cards out in the open all the time. But in the meantime, he'll get Aura, you'll get Aura, and everyone's going to be better off. I can tell you that right now. Sign up today, aura.com/chatsports. So, Baker Mayfield in Seattle, you know, I wonder how this is ultimately going to play out with this circumstance, with this situation. It all, for me, just depends on what happens with Deshaun Watson at this point. There's really no need for the Browns to move on from Baker Mayfield to figure out their path forward until they know one way or the other how this Deshaun Watson situation is going to play itself out. Now, will he end up in Seattle or not? Want to hear from you guys. Here's your chance to weigh in with what we know right now. Will Baker Mayfield end up with the Seahawks? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I would like to see it happen. That is no secret. We've talked about that a lot on this show, but I'll believe it when I see it. This has been a long process now. Let me know in the comments section. Y for yes, N for no, if ultimately Mayfield ends up in Seattle, whether it be by trade, free agency, whatever it may be. Let me know in the comments section. All right, final updates before we wrap up today's show. Let's look at the Seahawks ownership situation, as there was a new report that came out this week that the Seahawks are going to be sold eventually, that this is going to happen, that it has to do with the Allen family trust since the passing of Paul Allen. We'll get to that here in just a moment with some of those details of how the Seahawks and also the Portland Trail Blazers are both affected by this. But before we do, I want to make sure that you are subscribed to Seahawks Today. We are literally just over 30 subscribers away from reaching 27,000 on this channel. We are growing each and every day, and we're bringing you nonstop Seahawks coverage, and you got to be a part of what we're doing here. I have so much fun doing this show, but we do it because of people like you that are watching us each and every day. So if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe now. Tell all your Seahawk friends as well. Make sure that they are subscribed to the channel so you never miss a moment of all the latest Seahawks news and rumors. Subscribers get to be a part of the mailbags and everything as well. I love interacting with you guys throughout the week on our community page. So subscribe now so you never miss a moment of Seahawks Today, and it's free. YouTube.com/Seahawks TV. Subscribe now. So the Seahawks could potentially be for sale. let's go ahead and build this up for you, kind of ease into this situation here. So we got the report last week that Nike founder Phil Knight was offering to buy the Portland Trail Blazers for about $2 million. And in case you did not know, the Allen Trust owns the Seahawks and the Trailblazers both. But they're in two different situations here, these two franchises are. Not just because they're in different cities. But the Seahawks have a situation with their lease agreement that there would be a big buyout if the Seahawks were to be sold within the time period of 2025 and 2026, sometime around then. Portland and the Trailblazers, there isn't anything like that. So it's likely that the Seahawks and the Trailblazers are going to be sold at different points. They're going to be sold separately. There could be the same buyer, that's possible, but it's likely not going to be a package deal. And this comes on the heels of another report this week that the Allen Family Trust, since the passing of Paul Allen, will have to sell both these franchises eventually, that it will not stay in the family's hands, that they are required to sell both entities at some point in time. Now, when you look at the numbers, just within this week, news coming out today, the Broncos have sold to Rob Walton of Walmart fame for $4.5 million. A lot of money there for the Denver Broncos. And something to think about here. As the Seahawks go up for auction, basically, and I think this is going to drag on for a while, that price tag is only going to go up from here. More on this in just a second, but it did get me thinking. I want to hear from you guys in the comments section. If you could pick the next Seahawks owner, who would it be? Last week we heard some potential former players interested in being a part of an ownership group like Cam Chancellor. Obviously, you got to have a big money guy, right? You got to have a billionaire. Maybe somebody like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk could be involved. Those are some names that come to mind. Bill Gates, maybe this is his opportunity to own his hometown team. Personally, I would love to see Elon involved in football. We see what he's doing with Twitter. Wouldn't that be exciting? I don't know if he's much of a sports fan, though, personally. Let me know in the comments section if there's a name that comes to mind of who you think would be a good fit to be the next owner of the Seattle Seahawks. Now, this is going to drag on for a bit. This is not going to get done overnight, this deal. But you look at it, Seattle, a bigger market than Denver. And what we saw what the Broncos went for, give this a couple years, this is going to be expensive. And you are going to have a rich owner, whoever that is. You go from Paul Allen to whoever this new owner is. I would think, barring them finding another Dan Snyder, for goodness sakes, that the Seahawks will be in good hands in the future. I think I can tell you that right now. I feel pretty good, even though we don't know who that next owner will be and when it will happen, quite frankly.